Hi there, everybody. My name's Aubrey, and I'm an opera singer and a voice coach. Today, we're going to take a look at Disney's Sleeping Beauty, and we're going to look at Aurora's I Want song. In this case, we're actually going to take a look at two different songs because they're both really iconic, and there's a lot of things we can talk about in each of these selections. So without any further ado, let's take a look at Aurora's I Want song, I Wonder, along with Once Upon a Dream. I remember hearing this as a kid and loving it. Such a pretty melody. So open and so pure. Listen to how similar that ah is. No matter where she is in the range.
Little bird has a someone to sing to, sweet things to, a gay little lark melody. I wonder if my heart keeps singing, will my song go winging to someone who'll find me and bring back a love song to me.
As we can see, there's a lot of that open, pure ah across all of the vocalies. This is such a great example of how we can use comfortable vowel shapes to help navigate tricky passages. Because, to be honest, there's really nothing else being said, right? She's just singing a pure sound with no other words, so we can actually focus a lot on shape and how we can make it feel as good as it sounds. You can practice this vocalese in order to identify certain vowel shapes that work best for your voice. She's also so careful on all those little staccati notes. There's no scoops, there's nothing. She's just beginning so gently on each one of those entrances. It's really, really clean. And I think that's something that makes it feel almost otherworldly. Notice also the vowel she's using. She's not coming at this vowel like she's coming at it nice and light with that beautiful pillar of lift. She makes it sound so effortless, but in reality, you have to really set it and be very confident the entire time. I think one of the things that people forget is we have to modify as we change from the high to the low sections of our voice. So how do you navigate that without ending up sounding like two different singers? Well, by considering that concept of the lowest common denominator shape. We've talked about the schwa before here on this channel, and we want to use that here. Instead of going for ah, 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 where it's very bright, we want to add a little bit more of that schwa, ah, 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 so that this shape fits a little bit better across all of the range. I like to encourage people to think about Julia Child's voice or the Queen of England. These kinds of lifted places really highlight the back of our mouth and what it can do for us as singers. She's placing quite a lot of her sound there, which is allowing a beautiful open resonance. Try it out in your own singing because I promise it will make a huge difference to think about that extra lift If you have trouble finding that spot, think about a gentle yawn, then relax and just keep it in that lifted spot. It doesn't have to be like this, but we want it to be just gentle. And just that little extra space in the back can give us such a beautiful, clean space of resonance.
No, I'm really not supposed to speak to strangers, but we've met before.
I know you, I walked with you once upon a dream. I know you, the gleam in your eyes is so familiar a gleam. Yet I know it's true that visions are seldom all they seem. But if I know you, I know what you'll do. You love me at once, the way you did once upon a dream. La, la, la.
I love this lilting melody.
But if I know you, I know what you'll do. You love me at once, the way you did once upon a dream.
Just like in Snow White, the prince comes out of absolutely nowhere. Notice how she sings those ooh vowels. Woo! It's very, very round. It's probably a pretty small shape when she's singing too. Ooh, 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 because there's a little bit of a higher pressure point there. It's really pretty because it allows you to have a really ringy sound at the top. In addition to that shape, she also sings through so many of these passages. They waterfall into each other one after another, which is so gorgeous. She doesn't cut anything off prematurely, so always make sure to consider that when you're singing your own passages, because one thing I hear constantly with singing students is this desire to cut the ends of phrases. Mostly because of rhythmic pressure, right? We want to make sure that we're really accurate, but that ultimately ends up making things sound a little bit choppy, and it really doesn't also provide the most fluid listening experience for those of us in the audience. I think one of my favorite things that she does well here is that you cannot hear any shifting. It is so smooth. Singing, I like to akin to driving stick shift because there's different gears that work best for different components of the voice, much like driving in different speeds with the car. So in order to make sure that the voice functions at its best capacity, you need to consider the shape and the pressure of air in conjunction with many other techniques, which can sometimes feel like you're juggling a lot simultaneously. What Aurora does here fabulously is that she has a seamless transition across all those different technique bridges, and she ends up creating such a uniform experience for us. She genuinely makes this sound easy when it is quite difficult. If you're interested, I definitely encourage you to take a peek at the vocalies and even this passage here, and use it as an opportunity to explore how you can make as smooth of transitions from the lower to the higher ranges of your voice. It can be challenging, but also extremely rewarding. A trick for doing this well is to just make sure you're avoiding over pressurizing the voice, meaning you're putting too much air as you transition up. As we go higher in the voice, we want to use a little bit less air because the vocal cords really can't handle that extra pressure. I know that kind of sounds counterintuitive, but it comes down to the physical shape of the vocal cords themselves. I find that the less air in my higher range, the better sound I get, and the more similar to the lower range it also is. And in the lower range, we can put a little bit more air in there and not risk as much cracking, so we can end up with a very different set of techniques for the higher and the lower range. The trick is doing that little transition. As you're feeling yourself starting to get close to a crack, pull that air away a little bit. Don't push into it, because if you do, you're going to run the risk of creating a little bit more instability than I think you're wanting. If you want an exercise to practice just that, think about doing a big siren from the lowest part of your range to the highest part of the range and then back down. See how smoothly and almost computerized you can make that sound. Notice also where your points of instability are so that you can kind of isolate that and workshop it. It'll kind of sound like this. I should be able to go from the top to the bottom with no real bumps or lumps or overlaps. It might not sound super pretty, but it is a really great way for us to practice the ability to fuse lower to higher. I'll be honest with you, I think this might be one of my favorite princess songs because the melody is just so pretty. I of course encourage you to take a peek at this from a learning standpoint. I really think the vocalies could be turned into a great little practice exercise for us, so feel free to incorporate this kind of stuff into your own practicing. Thank you so much, guys, for spending some time with me. I really enjoy doing these videos, and we'll look forward to our next installment of the Princess I Want series. I hope you have a great rest of your day and that you remember to always keep on singing.
So when you